the SMITE OPL. We're having a little bit of technical issues at the moment here. Sorry about that. Something going wrong, I think, with the audio. We should be fine to continue on now. Yes, we're good to go. Okay, cool. So we're going to start our picks and bans here in just a second. This is going to be game number 2 between Alpha Sydney and Corvidae. Corvidae, to be frank, Andy, got a little bit destroyed that last game.
It wasn't. I wouldn't say they got absolutely destroyed. They made a couple more mistakes, which allowed Alpha Sydney to then start influencing the map beyond Corvidae's control. If they can tighten up those plays and make sure that they analyze the weaknesses of Alpha Sydney's comp and play into that, then they could have success in the second game.
All right, well, speaking of the draft, let's go ahead and start our picks and bans right now. And we're going to see Alpha Sydney taking the first pick in this one. And so Corvidae have obviously chosen the counter pick here. I kind of like that a little bit because last game they were surprised by the Ares pick from Alpha Sydney and just really destroyed a lot of or not really destroyed, but really countered a lot of their team comp that they were and their strategy they were trying to do. Terra going to be the first ban here by Alpha Sydney.
And then immediately responded to with a Susano from Corvidae. And 2 standard bans you're going to see pretty much every single game. If Terry gets let through, she'll be first pick. And until next patch, I don't think we'll see Susano even let through first bans.
Alrighty, so the Susano and Freya taken away. Susano, one of the most banned gods in the OPL. You can see the 73 ban percentage there. He's actually 100% picked or banned. So if he is not banned, he is definitely picked up by a team. And we've actually seen mixed results with the Susano. Some teams have been able to execute with him and some haven't. And, interestingly enough, the 2 top place teams, Avant-Garde and Team Pandemonium, I don't think they have a win on Susano yet. Jingwei is going to be banned away by Corvidae. The first pick is going to be Ratatoska here by Alpha Sydney.
Ratatoska sort of has a similar playstyle to Susano, as well as this big knock-up-based ultimates, has a lot of mobility as well, it can do a lot of damage by himself early game, and can transition into a supportive, a nuisance in that late game, potentially. But Ratatoska does do a bit more damage in that late game than the Susano. But Corvidae, they're going to respond to it with a Raijin and Athena combination. We've seen it yesterday from Cherio that Athena can be played into the jungle, but I expect this one to go into the support role.
I don't know about that. Trilogy's a bit kind of... He doesn't play a lot of traditional picks, and within the OPL, this Athena jungle is starting to come back in a little bit more flavor here, a bit more of a nice pick out of the jungle. Erlang Shen and Izanami picked up for Alpha Sydney. Sunwoo Kong going to be the solo lane pick here for Corvidae, unless Acacia plays its support, which I highly doubt. But the Athena jungle is really starting to come back into the meta in OCE, so I wouldn't be surprised if that was jungle. What I think this actually is, though, for Corvidae is a flex pick. It's going to be either for Trilogy in the jungle or for Acacia the support role, and they're just making up their minds. Them picking their solo lane pick here says to me that they're going to pick their ADC pick next, and then use the last pick to either pick their support or jungler, and basically decide where the Athena fits in then.
Well, the issue that I would have, though, is if they pick their ADC next, there has to be a hyper carry if they're going to be looking for that Athena into the jungle and then picking another Guardian for support. Because otherwise, where's that late game damage coming from? You're going to have some Wukong Athena and another Guardian having a lot of peel, a lot of CC. Raijin, he can output a lot of damage onto a single target, maybe not onto the whole team fight as a whole. And then you're looking at your ADC, which is going to be the ROM picked up, and it looks like Corvidae did not have a ban there.
Yeah, they actually missed it, so they couldn't make up their minds in time about what they wanted to ban. So the ROM pick, that's essentially your hyper carry there. And it still leaves options, though, about what you want to put into Guardian with it. And so, I kind of like this. They're going to allow Alpha Sydney to lay their strategy out there, and then Corvidae's going to be able to decide, this is what this is the strategy we're going to play.
Alpha Sydney going to respond with a Fafnir and Soul. So again, Soul is an army. 2 people who can play in both ADC and mid. The flex pick option is there. Depending on the supports picked up, I can see as an army going into the ADC or the mid role. And the Geb pickup...
So it's both... Athena support, Geb jungle, right?
Oh yeah, obviously. And it's going to be a Fafnir ADC?
Obviously. I mean, obviously.
Where else would you put him?
Yeah, exactly. All right, we're going to go ahead and get into the game here in just a second. We can see, I believe we're heading into game now. It is going to be that Athena jungle for Trilogy. I like this with the Raijin pickup. It means early game he's going to be able to secure a little bit more of his damage and get a little bit more of it off. And you know we've seen Ro and Shred both play this Athena jungle and both do very well with it. And with the Imperial Helmet start, you get some protections, you get some magical power, you get some penetration as well when you turn it into a Celestial Legion helm. So with an Athena, it's very, very strong.
Yeah, but the only issue I have with Athena in the jungle right now is that with the removal of Purple Potion, has a lot of a harder time clearing in the early game, and it's been actually with the Sun Wukong helping out with the clear, they've done pretty much the exact same speed as Slicey and Kale on this Ratataska and Erlong Shen, which I would not have expected.
It's a little bit slower, but the Magic Cudgel from a Sun Wukong does 25% extra damage to minions in jungle camps. And you can see they're going to get to lane just at the same time. So nothing, nothing worried about there. Both of these guys, I guess they're very comfortable on these two gods. Cryopredator takes some damage, but so does Slicey as well. He's forced to dash away under his tower. Trilogy just misses the passive ranged attack there. But, Corvidae, a little bit, they had a strong start last game, but it's... The problem that Corvidae has is they have these strong starts. They seem to get off to good starts against higher level teams, but then they just kind of falter in the not quite mid game, but the early mid game, if I'm going to give it a term.
Well, because every single time you play a game, you're guaranteed to play the early game. You're not guaranteed to play the late game, so you're always going to have more experience in the earlier stages of the game. But left side Harpies, they're going to be taken away by Corvidae. Right side of the Harpies, they were taken away by Alpha Sydney in a 1v1. But Slicey taking a lot of minion damage there in his rotation path.
The Trilogy gets the Torn off and pulls Slicey into a minion wave. Down comes the shield. Well, some damage coming through from Desecrator, but Slicey positioning himself well away from the damage.
Oh, Cryopredator.
Ooh, manages to get himself away from KO there using the Oxform. He's actually a level above KO. He might be able to find the return kill here with a full minion wave, but I don't think he has any abilities up left to get the kill or enough damage online at this stage. But a bit of a back and forth here in the solo lane, and we'll see how this one goes. KO's generally accepted more as the kind of 1v1 guy compared to Cryo.
Yeah, but also mention, KO's got the sustain with that death toll over Cryopredator, has to rely on these potions. So KO's okay going low, he's okay taking these trades against Cryopredator because he's got the better sustain, but he may not have the better damage output.
Yeah, Cryo, they actually dashed in with the Tiger form and got some damage off. The pin lands from KO, but doesn't root Cryopredator in place. So both of these guys, willing to kind of be pretty aggressive with these picks here, both very much feeling themselves.
Yeah, well, both of them are out of potions as well now, so the next person to get low will lose the overall trade. But KO is clearing waves. Cryopredator taking low as well, forced into the Somersault Cloud, nearly dies before he gets up there.
And that's the strength of Sun Wukong, is that Somersault Cloud ultimate. You can just go up, heal, it makes you very safe. It means now though his ultimate is down while KO's is up, so he has to play very far back because that 9 turns blessing, very strong taunt, but also a very strong heal on the end of it. So KO, he's going to bank on taking some damage there from Cryo, but he's going to be okay with taking that because he'll sustain right back up. Mid lane, we can see Alpha Sydney pressuring up with Swifty and Slicey, the tier 1 tower there, and forcing Trilogy to head towards his backhands rather than get any more mid experience.
And early rotations for calcification as well means that the Tricore of calcification, Desecrator, and Trilogy are starting to group up. It's 3 bases of magical damage, which those guys should see and adapt to. Building into some early magical protections. Maybe a Hardwood Amulet would do the world of good here.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. Let's take a look at our duo lane now. So we've got a Soul matching up against a Ram here, and I think it's probably fair to say that the early game goes a little bit more towards the Soul than the Ram, particularly with Golden Bow being removed. Once you hit level 7, 8, your Stellar Burst starts to clear waves really effectively compared to Ram that kind of has to stand around and either basic attack him death or use those Astral Strike to clear the wave. But even then, it's not 100% guaranteed clear, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see Rana go aggressive onto Pure Might here. What I suspect we might see is Rana get some damage down, force Pure Might up into his ult, and then use his own Supernova ult in return and get a kill there. Or, force a rotation out as well. Rana, very much an aggressive ADC, always willing to take a 1v1.
It was had to use his Disappoint there as he got caught out in the jungle by Trilogy. No taunt coming out from the jungler from Corvidae. simply because that Desecrator was already being used. The Cursification going to get stunned out on these left side Harpies, forcing out the Defender of Olympus, as well as the Supernova. Tycho Drums coming out as well. Torres guys going up into the air, but Desecrator already kills Rana Brown as Slicey gets the trade off with Calcification. 1-for-1 there, with Burst Blood going the way of Corvidae, sorry.
Yeah, and Tory Skies taken low here as well. Slicey secures the mid camps here. Might be in a little bit of trouble. The snipes coming through from Pure Might, and Tory Skies sniped from a distance by Pure Might here. And Corvidae have got themselves a kill lead, something they didn't have all of last game. In fact, they only got their second kill at about 19 minutes into the game, so already progressing a little bit faster than what they did the previous game. Now, Desecrator on this Raijin last week, we didn't get the games because of some technical errors, but he actually managed to get a quadra kill with this Raijin and went something like 12-1, so this is definitely one of his stronger picks.
And they're looking to just try and peel for it consistently with this Athena and Geb. The Stone Shield, the Taunts, the Defender of Olympus. It's a lot of protection and a lot of utility to help defend your hyper carries. Pure Might and Desecrator can then play that much more aggressively and know they'll be safe because of these double Guardian. Alpha City, they've got to make sure that these Guardians are shut down early, otherwise it could be game over.
KO and Cryopraetor solo lane boxing it out. KO taking a lot of damage for the minions, uses the 9-turns blessing, taunts in Cryopraetor, Slices here as well, forced up into the Somersault Cloud is Cryopraetor. So thus ends the 1v1. I really want to see just these two guys just 1v1, no junglers coming over. You know, just respect the 1v1, Slicey.
Yeah, they should go to Rust if they want to 1v1, dude.
Classic. And Cryopraetor hangs around too long. Slicey is here as well. The Ox form comes out, though, enough to knock up Slicey.
Rotations on left. Rotations on left as Pure Might gonna get ganked as well. Force out the Purification. Dark Portal doing a lot of damage, and Swifty already gets the kill before the double Guardian can make their rotation.
Hasten jumps in, knocks up one. Slicey gets the kill on the Cryopraetor on the right-hand side. So Alpha City across the map getting themselves some picks here. Tory Sky stuns out both Desecrator and Trilogy. Athena ultimate being channeled on to the Raijin. And Trilogy, instead of using that offensively, uses it to get out. But this looks like it's going to be a Gold Fury for Alpha Sydney.
Yeah, and they also have the Coercive. There it goes onto absolutely everybody. This Gold Fury is going to melt, but is it going to melt fast enough? Because here comes the Tycho Drones with Desecrator looking to steal it. It's actually looking to do damage to Swifty. And the Gold Fury gets leashes. Desecrator has to get out.
Yeah, Cataclysm used as well there. Cryopraetor might be able to find the kill onto Swifty, and he does so. He's looking for another one onto Rana Barana in the backside. KO doing damage. 9-turns blessing used onto the Geb. Casification for... Oh, the taunt from Trilogy nearly saved his life, but Tory Sky secures the kill in the end. Cryopraetor wrapping around the back here. Does some damage to the Fafnir. Avoids the stun, but it's knocked up by the Turtle and can't find anything more. So they stop the Gold Fury, get a kill in return, and keep the scores relatively even.
Now, with Alpha City for the first time in the game have the kill lead for themselves and also have a slender gold lead. That graphs, you can see it's 2,300 experience in favor of Alpha City, but the gold difference graphs is what really tells the story of this game. Very back and forth, very even game right now, and Corvidae, they have the potential to start taking this one to Alpha Sydney.
And we've seen it before. The last time they played, you know, Corvidae lost game 1, won in game number 2. They learned from their picks and bans, learned a better draft strategy, were able to execute in the second game. Hopefully they can do something very similar here. Cryopraetor looking to evade the speed buff here. Does manage to secure it, actually. Dark Portal used as well by Swifty to no avail, but Casification and the rest of Corvidae here now. Casification picks up the speed buff. And look at this wraparound here from Trilogy. Thunder Crash used as well. Swifty manages to stealth away, however, goes to back, but realizes that takes away his stealth, walks under the tier 2 tower, but a blue buff invade now comes through from Corvidae, so a nice aggressive call there.
Yeah, it's a great call. I thought it was actually a terrible call by Cryopraetor, but he gets the speed buff, he gets out with his life, doesn't even have to use his ultimate, and the rest of the team help him get the blue buff as well. The entire right-hand side control goes the way of Corvidae. Gold Fury control still favors Alpha City slightly because of the fact that there's some wards around the map for them.
Trilogy taunted Slicey here. Raiju comes down. Slicey taken very low. Tycho Drums coming out from Desecrator, trying to get the last hit, but he's just barely out of range there. Unable to secure the kill on to the Ratataska. Swifty and Tory Sky is going to be able to hold this mid lane as well. So Corvidae, nothing doing off the back of that Raijin ultimate.
He needed to use the taunt portion of his ultimate rather than the full damage version, which he did end up using. They probably would have got a kill there. It's just very small plays like that, very small nuances that can separate the top Raijin players from the rest of the pack.
Rana Brana forced to use the Supernova ultimate. Trilogy tanking the tower. He's going to fall down here. In return, Slicey actually dunks on him from the sky with that ultimate from the Ratataska. Knock up there from Casification, but Tory Sky's here. Stuns at the Geb. Dark Portal to chunk damage. my goodness, that Kev just absolutely disappeared. And I mean, Case just a little bit too aggressive there, and I think Trilogy as well, a little bit too aggressive on the tower. Thought that Pure Might had a little bit more damage than what he did, unable to secure it onto the Soul. Just look at this, Slicey flanking around from behind, dashes in, gets Pure Might in. Pure Might, no, escapes it, does have his ultimate available, but he doesn't have the mana to get it. Slicey dashes in again, can he get the kill? Purification Force as well, and the kill secured onto the Ram.
I don't know why Trilogy was diving tower there on that left-hand side. I mean, he is Athena, he's a Guardian, he has natural protections, but he doesn't have too much in the way of protections on his items, so he was very squishy to the tower there as well. He's now 2 levels behind Slicey. It's looking like a repeat of last game where Corvidae held off in the early games and actually took it to Alpha Sydney. One bad team fight and Alpha Sydney started to snowball the game for themselves.
Take a look at our graphs. 5,000 experience, 2,500 gold. Not the biggest lead we've seen between these two teams, but definitely something that Corvidae need to start being wary of. We're starting to see the difference that experience is making in these team fights, where Corvidae is getting decent engagements, but just unable to secure the kill as the experience gap widens.
Mid lane, small grouping for Alpha City as they look to try and push down and get some jungle control back on this right-hand side. They're going to start with these Harpies on the right-hand side. They're going to get them for free. Speed buff was not successfully invaded by KO. That's going to be wrapped around Trilogy's belt for now. Corvidae, they're going to have to be careful though, because the blue buff potential invades in the next 3 minutes from Alpha City is strong.
Predator 1v1 and KO over in the solo lane. Does have his ultimate available. Might not be able to get it off in time, but actually an excellent ops form. But Somersault Cloud inevitably has to be used as Slicey comes crashing down with that through the Cosmos. Predator dives himself back under the tower here, but probably not able to defend this tower here with a combination of KO and Slicey and a couple of minions.
Yeah, that's how it's going to fall down, and Trilogy needs to make up his mind about where he wants to go, which fight he wants to be in. He's going to choose this left-hand side fight, though, as Rana Barana goes too aggressive, but in the mid lane, there's still a small engagement. Going to be immune now as KO teleports in, and the Knight's Blessing comes out as well. He's looking for the gap, not able to find it. Rana Barana kills Trilogy in a 2 versus 1.
Pure Might still going aggressive here onto Rana. Rana gets him through the wall with the Astral Strike in the mid lane between 2 towers. We see Slicey pick up Desecrator. Predator can't even secure any damage down in return onto the Ratatoska. Slicey gonna walk away from that one. So effectively a 1-for-2 trade there. And you know, Rana Rana's gonna be happy. He took 2 members out of the fight and managed to take one of them with him.
We got more indecision though from Corvidae Trilogy. There was a 3 versus 2 in the mid lane he could have engaged upon with the Athena. Instead, he was hanging around the right side jungle, hesitant of going to his right hand side to help out Cryoprator, who was having to go back to base already against KO and Slicey, and the tower was gone already. Needed to just stick to his guns, focus on one of the engagements at a time, and go into another mid lane fights and possibly help his team win a 3 versus 2. Instead, messy fights all around for Corvidae, end up costing them a mid tower.
And, you know, Alpha City off the back of that, they get a single tower, but, you know, other than that, mini waves weren't pushed up enough. There's some good vision out from them as well, so they know the buffs are down, and they smartly just reset. They're not looking to risk their hand, not really looking to push anything too hard when Corvidae got such low respawn timers.
They can't push into the tier 2s just yet. They do have the Fafnir. They need to be grouped as a 5 with that Coerce to then be able to push down those towers quick enough. But in the mid lane, Slicey going up onto that branches of Yggdrasil. A Trilogy taunts Swifty in the mid lane, being forced to have that gift shield on him to escape.
That was a miscommunication there. Trilogy went in, but the rest of his team was running away. They're not even able to get the kill down onto Swifty or Slicey here. Coerce used by Torres guys on to Swifty just in case of, but at the end of the day, Alpha Sydney now looking for their turn to go aggressive here. But really, that just speaks to kind of Corvidae as a whole. You know, a little bit of fracturedness in the team. You know, Trilogy had a decent call there. Let's go in, let's get some damage down. We've got Origin, but Kazacation and Desecrator retreating towards their tier 2 tower. They've been a little bit closer, would have been able to get a little bit more damage down and potentially secured the kill.
You said it yourself perfectly there. There's a bit of fraction going on. It seems to be like Trilogy is not on the same wave, like on the same page as the rest of Corvidae right now. And it's starting to show, and Alpha City is starting to pressure into it and abuse that fact even. As you saw there, they nearly got a kill onto Trilogy again if it wasn't for the gift shield. A great bailout from Desecrated and Kaisification, who was forced to use both their ultimates just to defend their jungler. It means that Alpha City now can pressure and round them out as they please without that Cataclysm, without those Tycho drums available.
Left-hand side tier 1 should fall very quickly here to Rana, Barana, and Tori Skies. That Coerce doing wonderful work for Rana and Tori. To separate form used already by Rana. So Corvidae delayed in their initiation, but Trilogy eventually dashes in, uses the taunt, but Rana, Barana manages to purify and sanctuary most of the damage as well. He's used that Supernova ultimate. Tori Skies, Draconic form now, and now it's Alpha Sydney's turn to engage. Swifty dashes in. He's stealth mode. Trilogy taking a lot of damage here. Geb Shield already used. Slicey's diving into the backline. Swifty gets one. Slicey gets the other, and now they're looking for case-fication. Geb gets a 4-man Cataclysm here, but it's not going to be enough to stop the aggression from the boys in blues. Rana Brana credited with the kill. KO's here now as well. Taunt off the mark, but the pin is enough. Sanctuary used as well by Pure Might, but he's got no escapes here as Swifty is relentless in his pursuit of kills. Left-hand side tier 2 tower should fall down here very swiftly indeed, and now they're looking for the Phoenix.
Alpha City pushing up for the Phoenix Cryopraetor. He's by himself. Can he defend? He's got backup from Trilogy, who has just respawned, but it's not in time. Defender of Olympus comes out, but the Phoenix is already gone, and the rest of the members have to have escaped. 4-man taunt, but it could just be a martyrdom here as Trilogy falls down to Swifty.
Cryopraetor's clones in there doing some basic attack damage. Corvidae's Desecrator lays down some damage with that Percussive Storm, but nothing doing here for the murder. 14-4 reads the scoreline. All towers in the left-hand side are down. Phoenix down as well. This is going to be a Gold Fury here from Alpha City. I wouldn't be surprised after this for them to get a pick and lock into the Fire Giant.
Well, it's going to be that 10,000 gold threshold slightly broken here by Alpha Sydney. It's 13, nearly 14,000 experience difference. 300 gold off that 10,000 gold difference as well. It's looking very, very grim here for Corvidae.
It is indeed. 16 minutes into the game, a very large disparity between the two teams. Yeah, Phoenix being taken this early is pretty bad for them, but they can take solace in the fact that they haven't been beaten in 14 minutes like Royalty were yesterday. So, I mean, that's like, you know, it sounds harsh, but that's the consolation they can take out of this. The other thing they can kind of look at is, you know, the later this gets, the more potential Pure Might has to carry, but it might be just too little too late.
Well, the Corvidae's comp right now is very defendable. It does have the potential to go aggressive like it has done here to Rana Brana. One more basic attack should do it. Up in the air with the Snipe's going to miss the first one to separate in corporal form. Might save the life of Rana Brana, but Desecrator says no. Tycho Drum's used. Couple of ultimates expended there, but they get a kill.
And they get a kill onto an important person, Rana Brana, who's one of their two main sources of tower push, the other one being Swifty on this Eastern Army. Desecrator by himself in the mid lane, but it's a bait as the rest of Corvidae looking to come through this mid lane here. Pure Might was looking for Slice, but Slice is up in Gadra still, comes crashing down. He finds Case-Fication, Cryopraetor up on his Somersault Cloud. Trilogy trying to find some targets to taunts KO and Tori away from Desecrator, who's forced to purify away. Titan under attack here. Corvidae could lose to 5 minutes here if they're not careful. If Alpha City holds them here too long, but Cryopraetor's managed to get himself away, managed to back, and now Swifty, virtually untouched, should be able to get this mid-tier 2 tower. Trilogy falls down as he taunts in 3, taunts himself into death. Alpha City take the mid-tier 2 tower.
Well, with 1 Phoenix down, the 5 minutes won't do enough to take down your Titan. With 2 Phoenixes down, that's when the 5 minutes are a real threat and a real nuisance to you, and puts you on that clock of having to defend. And Alpha City, they tried to get this mid-Phoenix, they couldn't quite pressure into it just yet, as Corvidae holding on by a hair's breadth here. The Fire Giant could be the next call here from Alpha City as they all back to spend some of their gold.
I mean, they hold them back in the way that the beach holds back the tide. You know, little by little, the tide's eventually going to creep up on you and sweep you away. So, I don't see Corvidae coming back at this one. You know, I said Pure Might before, but has kind of the potential to carry, but within a 16,000 experience difference, 11,000 gold at this stage of the game, he's just not going to be able to reach that stage before Alpha Sydney take everything.
I think the tide started to turn into a tidal wave as well, with the frenzy being picked up by Tori Skies. Not only does the team have a
and the Ritual Dagger.
Oh yeah, like why not have a 15-second buff along with your Coerce? As Trilogy is going to get destroyed over here on this left-hand side.
Not going to have any way out here. Doesn't even bother using his ultimate to get out because he knows he's just going to keep himself still and get blown up. Ram ultimate comes through, does a lot of damage to Swifty here, but really not going to make that much of a difference. Oh my goodness, look how fast those auto attacks are coming out. Desecrator Thunder crashes away. Cryopraetor doesn't even get a chance to go up in his ultimate either. Alpha Sydney looking for the final push here. Slicey's pushing down the mid lane. He's got some creeps coming with him as well. All the rest of Alpha Sydney, Frenzy popped here on the left-hand side. KO dives into 3 members, and his team just obliterates the right-hand side Phoenix. Slicey taking the middle Phoenix as Swifty takes Casification's life. Left-hand side Phoenix has respawned, but it's weakened, and 5 minutes are coming in as well. Desecrator, no escape for you, my friend. He falls down. Alpha Sydney looking for the left-hand side Phoenix, and then they're going to look for the win.
Yeah, if that Phoenix on the left this weekend, might as well just take it before you go into this Titan. Very low protections, very low HP, maximum of 8,000. Trilogy doing what he can with that taunt, but he's just delaying the inevitable. Toast Guys gets the final kill of the game. Under 20 minutes, Alpha Sydney take game 2. It looked comfortable, but the early game for both games was anything but for Alpha Sydney.
And, that's a little bit of a worry for them, to dominate a team like Corvidae in the mid to late stages of the game, but early struggle against a team like a Pandemonium, a Legacy, or an Avant. You're really going to struggle to come back from those kinds of deficits. So that's perhaps something that Alpha Sydney needs to work on. Speaking of Alpha Sydney, we're going to take a talk now with their solo laner and former Corvidae player KO. So KO, you guys managed to get the 2-0 this time after splitting with Corvidae last time. That's got to feel good.
Yeah, of course it feels good to beat my old teammates, definitely.
So the Erlang Shen seems to be a favorite pick of yours in the solo lane. Talk to us a little bit about what he provides as a solo lane player.
He's kind of like really broken in 1v1ing, and it's really easy for your jungler to gank solo, and Slicey like loves to camp solo, so it just kind of like works with that team.
Alrighty, so what you guys have actually done today, I'm not sure if you're aware, you've secured effectively advanced spot in LAN and Pandemonium if they can get a split or better in the next set. So a couple of teams, we're starting to get towards this playoff section of the split, and a nice 2-0 today actually puts you guys in 3rd place above Legacy. What are you guys looking towards for LAN? What are you starting to change your preparation up at all, or kind of what's the feel around the team?
We're trying to scrim a lot harder. Like we've made efforts to be a lot more disciplined, especially in the early game coming towards LAN. We're definitely going to try to become as strong as possible, and well, hopefully win LAN, I guess. But definitely just preparing by practice.
Alpha, any questions for our guest?
Yeah, both games we saw Swifty play that Izanami in the mid lane. A new character available in Smite. What do you feel like Izanami brings to a team composition?
It's just the big ult with the silence. It combos off like a lot of things like taunts and knockups, and you can kind of just blow up tanks. We work well when we can blow up tanks, and Izanami fits that perfectly on Swifty.
And going into this game, it looked like you guys had a game plan, especially related to Kaisification in the jungle. What were your thoughts going into this game about how to effectively shut down Corvidae?
Sorry, you said Kaz in the jungle. Do you mean Phil?
Trilogy. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think we had too much of a plan to shut down Trilogy. Like, I think he just kind of made some mistakes. Like, he bought Hog on Awilix, I think, and then he didn't buy it on Athena, and we kind of just abused it with the Ares. So, just kind of worked out because he made a mistake, I think.
All right. Before we let you go, do you have any shout-outs?
Shout out to DOS. Shout out to Alpha Sydney fans, and I guess my team for playing a really good set.
All right, thank you very much, KO, for joining us. We're now going to be joined by the ADC from Corvidae, Pure Might. So Pure, a bit of a rough set for you guys, but what's the team kind of focus now as we start to head towards LAN?
Oh yeah, nah, it was a bit rougher, I say. But we've sort of analysed that our comms need to be a lot stronger there, Husey.
All right, and the jungle from Trilogy, it's been just said there by KO. He bought Hog the first game but didn't buy it the second game? Are these the kind of things that you guys point out to each other, or is it more kind of individual reflection on builds and god picks?
We sort of do our builds individually, and we should be communicating this stuff more, but it's sort of weak at the moment with people like sort of tilting at the ends of games. For example, in the end of the second game, we weren't really in it.
All right, Alpha, any questions for our guest?
Yes. In that first game, obviously you picked the Chingwei into the Freya, and actually managed to get a solo kill. What were your thoughts, and what was going through your mind when you got that solo kill?
When I was doing it, I was just looking to force him to back, using my Whirlwind knock-up to sort of poke him out. And then he didn't back, so I was like, wait, they're still in mid lane, and he's not backing. So I sort of just went full ham, dove the tower, and killed him.
Alright, very nice.
Nice.
Before we let you go, do you have any shoutouts?
Oh yeah, shoutouts to the org, shoutouts to my team. You guys are amazing. And yeah.
All right, thank you very much, Pure Might. So that does it for our first set of the night, Alpha Sydney against Corvidae. Next up, we have Team Pandemonium up against Royalty. Team Pandemonium looking to secure themselves a spot at LAN, and if they get the 2-0, they're going to take first place away from Avant-Garde. So we'll have to see how that all pans out for the Pandas. We're going to take a short break. Don't go anywhere.
Disconnected.